Welcome back. Let's get into this discussion now. So the South African Early Childhood Development Teachers Union has handed a report of investigation against the Department of Basic Education and other stakeholders to the Public Protector. The union says grade R teachers are treated like non-humans, working for 26 years without a permanent contract and other benefits. The president of the union, Dr Bafana Langa, joins us in studio now. Dr. Langa, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Quite the issues that you've put forward here. And talk to me about where the issue actually started, right? The genesis of saying, well, these are the steps that we're going to take and hand over this report of investigation.
Good evening, Naledi. Yes, the issue goes way back. You know, it's more of an ancient matter which has not been attended since the inception of Grade R in 1996, which I believe that it was on paper being presented by SASA, which is the South African Schools Act of 1996. And in the process of implementation, the department failed dismally. And one of the ministers, who is Minister Angel Mtshegwa, honestly did, meaning also confess, the constant failure of implementation that brought us to a review. Yeah. And at all times, from OBE, outcome-based education, to GET,
curriculum changes.
All of those, all those curriculum changes does not have an impact on the department, but it is so impact us towards the teachers, because remember, they are being encouraged, at all seasons to meaning also align themselves educationally so that they can be efficient in aligning with the curriculum. So when they align with the curriculum, then you come again because you have a pressure of also being part of the global, agenda of the NDP 2030. And now, not also withstanding, the fact of the matter that when these particular student teachers are encouraged to study, and that when they are encouraged to study, some of them would have to source some funds, loans and all of that. And without a proper consultation, there is an economic inefficiency there, whereby these people are breadwinners. They want to study and go and work. And now, in the merit where they're supposed to work, they're being told that the particular qualification is now being phased out. And amidst that, then the Department of Basic Education takes it on their shoulder to showcase such bad news of phasing out a qualification without proper consultation, and also looking at the fact that even the qualification that they're introducing, had a way path because of the diploma. So you wouldn't go and study, meaning bachelor in education, if you had not studied diploma. So if this paves the way, so what does it mean? It means now the department was supposed to actually utilize your RPL process, recognition of prior learning, so that you can give them some time for capacity, that the same teacher who is on the very post is given an opportunity, like in the old days. We did this in Bantustan, where our teachers went, for courses, we call them courses, and they came back, with a good capacity to align with the curriculum. But this day, somebody wakes up in the morning, politicians, MECs are involved in this mess at the provincial level. And now, when you start announcing such, they're not even also considering the atrocity that you are actually causing on the ground. We're losing teachers today because of stress level. They are muchly harmed because of this alleged silent killer, which is the Department of Basic Education, which I can tell you now, throughout our report of investigation, we had to find out that the department itself, it's not even the governor at all, on the teachers in regard to being the employer. So that actually has accumulated a problem. A teacher who has been with the department for 26 years to date is not yet a part of the mainstream education.
Yes.
They are not on the system.
And you say there's 100 of those?
No, we've got
100,000 actually.
Like, I
read the digit. It's 100,000 teachers not part of the mainstream
We've got
education
100,000. I can tell you now. Let alone let's talk about Eastern Cape. You've got teachers who are teaching in class, not assistant teachers. The main teacher was teaching in class who's earning 2,500 rand for 10 years in class without proper documentation, and also some do have, meaning through a fixed term contract, a kind of a contract that they sign on a year base. But some do not have such, but they get a straight, round-up figure of 2,500. And if you align it with Free State has the same case, but the person has a contract that does not have, meaning the amount,
yes,
in order to specify your salary a notch in terms of how much you earn. And there it's an open contract, that is given to the particular teacher. And then they'll get the money. And then some of them, they are actually contributing on UIF, contributing on tax or SARS.
Yeah.
But now remember, on the very salary advice, it is written that they actually are not part of the system. So if you're not part of the system, who do you complain to? You go to UIF, your name is not there, which is labor. And then you get to SARS, you can't even do returns. And for all these years, I mean, imagine their children are also considered as the children of the state-employed teachers. They can't even get NEFSAs. So you are putting them in a corner. They are earning peanuts. Number two, they are not part of the system. They can't even get benefits. Now, let me throw this on you before you come on board. Now, a lady in KZN would have to now, if she's conceived, can you imagine? I believe this is government-based violence, To me, I've announced it as a pandemic. A female teacher must find a replacement teacher that must replace her while she goes home and give birth to that president.
She must find her
own replacement. No. I have not said it now. She must find the replacement and also pay.
Is this at one specific institution?
She must find a replacement teacher and pay that teacher with her stipend in South Africa. Pay that teacher with a stipend and again be in a hurry to give birth. And after giving birth, in a month or two, you must come back quickly because the principal and the SGB can give away the post. When you come there, you'll be told that your post will be meaning will be put out there in a market. Yeah. And then you see, so we're losing teachers. I mean, I've lost one teacher, if I can maybe give one incident. Yep. One teacher in Eastern Cape was told that your post is now on advertisement. And what happened? She went home and sat on the sofa and died.
Sure.
Died.
Yeah. You see, this is a lot that's going on here. And of course, the numbers, right? You're talking about over 100,000 teachers that are not part of the mainstream education system. I want to do this because anyone who's watching at face value hears the issues that you're talking about around the working conditions, certainly for ECD teachers. But I want to talk about the importance of these teachers because that's what we need to touch on. You know, the Pearl study, for instance, says 8 out of 10 of our students in grade 6 cannot read for meaning. Earlier I was making the point that of the 100 learners that make it into grade 1, only 12 will make it into university. And the reason why I raise those stats is because we've been told over and over again that early childhood development is the perfect springboard to get better academic results of our learners. So is the sense here that it's just still not being taken seriously despite what it can do to our academic performance?
True that, and also I do support what you just said now, but we need to look at this. The problem is not the teachers. Everybody's talking about the problem is not the teachers. The problem is the sourced. I mean, we have sourced a curriculum we have borrowed a curriculum, from the West. We failed with Canada, a curriculum of pass one, pass all. We're failing now with the 30% pass mark. So this pass rate. So these failures constantly, which brings us to a review whereby we need to actually now, at all times, catch up with the global communities, and that is the failure that puts, meaning us as South Africa, in a state whereby, the states are saying that out of there, but I would say it's a lie because I'm a product. I'm a product of a creche. I'm a product of a creche. And I can tell you that every child that is actually attended, whether be day mama, whether be day care, whether be creche, those children are actually doing better today. Any child who's shot into schooling, meaning first day in grade 1, they might not do better. So now we cannot go down and criticize them as if they're not teaching, but we should go back to the governor. The governor of education, who is the Department of Basic Education, is the one treating them, I would say it's an abuse from what we are actually seeing. Because now, in the conditions that you have put them, in their very monuments, these teachers are there. No benefits, nothing of whatsoever. They don't even think of having to receive pension fund, meaning as they are done. The post, meaning retirement economy is actually meaning dull.
Dr. Langa, in 2022, the country had a conversation around how we're moving early childhood development from social development to be under the Department of Basic Education. And I remember back then there were issues around, are we prepared? Right? Is there preparedness? So are you saying to me that 2 years later, the preparedness still hasn't been there? And perhaps talk to me about the list of demands then that you put in as you handed over this report of investigation. And of course, you handed over to the public protector.
You see, the preparedness, the state of preparedness, the same thing that happened with the Great R. I'm amazed on how now politicians are hyped on this matter. But it took 28 years for implementation, just functional shift. Now it can also take 28 years for ECD sector. In terms, because when I was in the office of the minister with the director generals and the senior managers, they said it very loud that they are still on a functional shift. And now, which we asked the question, I personally did ask, how long will it take? Will it take 20-something years for the ECD sector to be recognized, fully recognized and fully absorbed? No, and we couldn't get an answer because I can tell you that could be the case. That's why we are saying enough is enough. To all ECD sectors or mini sector is a sector for professionals who are entrepreneurs, who breaks the doors of their homes, the walls of their homes, and they open up a door for our children to come in there, and so they can teach our children. So such what you do when you absorb them, you need to actually now give them some sort of honor and reimburse the work that they've done then. And so as you are bringing them back, because not a matter of subsidies and all of that, is a matter of governance, in terms of making sure that the ECD sector is also incorporated, because they are actually carrying a lot of students or pupils that are in the grade R. So now our cry of saying we don't have schools, that cry cannot be the cry of South Africa. South Africa has ECD centers that can accommodate grade R. And I can tell you that there are parents who will keep their children there for grade R. They will not take them to schools. While they actually trust the very preschool or the very daycare, because their child has been there for a couple of years. So they'll want them to finish up and graduate in that very ECD center. So there need to be some sort of a collaboration, by the state or by the DBE. So now the state of readiness for me, it's not there. It's neither there, because now I don't believe that they can do it as quickly as we want it to be done. So that's why we need to fight a fight that will actually make the Department of Basic Education to take our ECD sector also very serious. Okay, because you've gone to, and again, you handed over this report of investigation to the public protector.
as well as the Special Investigating Unit. What's the next step? So what's the next engagement that you want to have from now onwards? And I've got about 30 seconds for this. Perhaps if you want to make it a message directly to the Department of Basic Education when they do see this discussion.
Our message is clear. Our message is clear. Women of this country, particularly female teachers, practitioners, our ECD, our SGB educators, retirees have risen their hands in numbers. Now, we have a petition of more than 47,000 women all over the country that says we are not going to fight using guns. Even if it takes whatever that the government will do to prevent, we are going to fight using our tears. And they will gather around the gardens of union buildings on the 15th of January. That's the step that we are going to take on the very opening of the schools, where we will be actually embracing our grade 12s who have made it well and degrading those people who are mentors of these students that we are embracing. What are you opening while you are actually abusing the same people that must actually enter the class? So we are saying no schooling on that day, and we are calling out for a national shutdown. We did it well because we have actually now respected all institutional protocols from the circuit to the province to the ministry. All districts were actually also approached until now. So now we're saying to the Department of Basic Education, if it happens the 31st of December in how they did it in 2023, and also retrenching in a mass form our teachers who are carriers of diplomas. And if they will attempt to that, we will actually come in force in making sure that we run that national shutdown, and will litigation that follows to make sure that we put the DBE to be accountable for the atrocity and the degradation and the regression that has taken place in this country against our female teachers.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, Dr. Bafana Langa. And of course, we'll be inviting the Department of Basic Education to respond to some of the points that have been raised here. Thank you so much, and keep us updated as well in the work that you are doing. Dr. Bafana Langa there, who is president of the South African Early Childhood Development Teachers Union, or SAECDTU.